Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show today on Trade the Pool live streaming. The special guest, the co-host, here he is. It's Money Mitch. How you doing, Money Mitch?
What's going on, team? I'll tell you what, I've been waiting to come back, and the comeback is here. I've taken a couple months off. I had twins, and I'll tell you one thing. They always say that trading is difficult, but man, twins have made trading sound pretty easy right about now. So I'm ready to get after it today. It's a day where, of course, Elon Musk is getting things pumping up or electrified. Let's see what happens with that charging in Tesla. Looks like FSD buzz out there, but we'll definitely be watching all types of stocks. So if you guys something on your radar, throw it up in the chat there. I'll make sure to catch it.
You got it. You can take the lead here, Mitch, for a second. I'm having a few technical issues on the charting side, so you can take it away.
Love it. Love it. I'm ready to get after it. It's good to see some of y'all in the chat. I see dude Reno. What's going on? 3, 2, 1. Cole. Let's get after it, guys. Of course, today, big day is starting off just with Tesla. Of course, the beast that is Tesla. And from this morning, I mean, really just started to kick off, even from 5 a.m., already up about, let's say, 6.95% in 4 hours in the pre-market. So we got to be careful with this dragon. I always call Tesla the dragon here, and we'll see what happens today, of course. Technology names getting a little bit of a lift today. We also got Apple getting a lift, and this is off of our ratings upgrade. So, of course, this was mentioned by Bernstein. It's an upgrade to outperform from market perform. One thing that I'll be watching here is that this is all about related weakness in China. And we have seen lately that Tesla and Apple, right, have been kind of against the other big technology movers. So we're going to keep an eye on to see what happens with Apple and Tesla today. Can they continue to lead? And we'll see if maybe some laggards kind of play a little bit of catch up. I know I'm keeping an eye on like Intel charts like this are definitely on my radar. Pulled back. They had a nice little pullback. Let's see if these can start working their way back. Of course, it's going to be a big earnings week. We got FOMC. Well, of course, the Fed will be coming in on Wednesday. So a lot to take a look at. And if you guys got some smaller names, feel free to drop those in the chat. I also like paying attention to smaller names, and we can see where else the market's moving right now. One name that I can see standing out is PanW. So PanW definitely starting to get a little bit of a lift. And I like this little kind of check down approach, right? Now trying to get back up above 300. So this is one that I could maybe watch for a little bit of a 300 run, and then maybe seeing a little bit of a pullback, already getting a little bit strong here towards 298, but something that I'm definitely going to watch. But one thing that I always want to stick on, team, is focusing backwards, right? Not just focusing on stocks first. I always talk about this in kind of a macro to micro approach. So the way that I look at that is looking into like technology, right? And the sectors, right? So how are we looking at a sector wide basis? Well, as of late, what's been working kind of is, it's kind of weird, but we're starting to see even some defensive get hot lately. So we got to keep an eye on defensive. Energy has had a nice little breakout lately. So we can maybe keep an eye on some oil names. Of course, we can take a look at some of the leaders like XOM. We can take a look at some other kind of moves here. Chevron, let's see how Chevron's setting up here. So I think this is an interesting one just by the chart standing out to me, right? You can clearly see a trend line here, kind of break, a nice little dip. I always like when you get this kind of approach where you got the kind of a fake out to the breakout right here on a 164. And now we're really starting to claim it. And one thing to notice is on that pullback, you did get a nice little volume bar. So let's see if we can continue with higher volume and maybe take the 166 today, going towards the 170. These are all on my radar. So definitely going to be looking at some oil. Feel free to jump in whenever you want, Scott. I'll keep taking lead here. Basic materials, also something to kind of keep an eye out for. Can we start getting gold to continue the strength? And one thing that I'm going to be watching here is here you guys can see gold. Gold is really trying to kind of make that next step up here. And so one name that I like watching in gold, of course, is AU. When this stock has a tendency of trending, it does get a nice little lift. So this is one that I can keep an eye out. And of course, we can go for the leverage plays, right? Like JNUG or something like that. That's one of the great things about that Trade the Pool has access to, is a lot of these leverage vehicles for day trading. I'm definitely going to be using those today. Going to be looking at like a JNUG. Also can be looking at the silver names. right? Because one of the things that I always look for is if gold is catching fire, will silver all of a sudden catch fire? And that's why I think you're seeing a lot of that volume coming in as of late. Last week, right? Early April, we had some good volume. Let's see if we can start seeing this check right back to the upside and maybe catch a little silver and gold. Who has actual real silver and gold? Let me know in the chat. I know there's some people that still collect it. It's good to see you out there, Scott. Good morning to you. I'm ready to get after it. Free lunch trader, you've been watching since the SPAC attack days? Oh man, I'm ready to get after it. You guys, if you guys have any stock that you guys want to check out, feel free to throw it up there too. One of the things is that you guys run the show also. Let's keep going. Let's see what else. Rivian on sympathy of Tesla. Not a bad name. Rivian is definitely one that I believe in the long run, but you guys have seen how this has trended in 2024. I mean, January started up here, guys. This has been on a big retracement. It's about 60% down. And a lot of this is being that the EVs have just not performed well. One area that I'll be watching if Tesla continues to perform well is maybe a stock like Ford or GM. So those could be on the radar today. I definitely keep those on the radar. If you're a big Rivian fan or Tesla, maybe keep your eyes on the other auto manufacturers. And like I talk about, a lot of the times I'm going to be looking at what industry is doing well, particularly because that's what I care about. And a lot of this is going to be from the open. So when you guys hear me announce that industries and sectors are up during the show, a lot of that is what I'm looking at is what's the change from the open, right? Because we usually get that first opening drive. I'm trying to see where that drive is to then maybe catch some pullback opportunities for the long side. We'll find out what we get into today. All right, guys, it seems like it's going to be one of those days where we got to be ready to battle. And let's take a look at maybe some of these smaller names. There is a couple of these smaller names that will be maybe getting a lift today. That's IBRX. So here's a small one, $8 name, trying to continue the push from Friday. On Thursday, it looks like they had some reported good data. So now it's just kind of, hanging out there right now. It's not doing too much. A couple of drives trying to get through that 850 mark. I can see this maybe just taking a quick drive to 9. Then I'll be looking for pullbacks towards the 850 for kind of a new support after breaking the resistance. So this is a smaller one, definitely that we can keep an eye out for. Any names that you guys want to take a look at, charts, keep them throwing up in the chat. And one thing's for certain, hit up those likes, guys. I want to see some likes today. If you guys are happy that I've been able to join the show and kind of give you guys my perspective, definitely hit that like button. And if you can, hit the share button. Let everybody know on Twitter that Money Mitch is back right here in the hot seat today, ready to get after it.
Okay, so I'm kind of getting there. I lost everything for 2 minutes before the show, so I'm just I've got about half of it back. So I've got some scanners, I have some charts.
All right.
Give us a bit of your bio, Mitch. Right? So
yeah,
I know you're from Benzinga and Co. And you've obviously Money Mitch personally. So give everyone a bit of your bio there.
Yeah, Scott. So I originally started trading in 2018 as I was going to school at UCF for finance. And I decided, you know what, let's get into this world of trading, really push hard into it. At first, I started with kind of option learning, your basic resources out there, Tasty Trade, all the big names out there, was really kind of pushing into that. And then I got into equities and realized that options really weren't for me. So I strictly stick to the equities game. And then what I really started getting into as I developed is technical analysis. I am still studying to be a CMT right now. I'm working on level 3. So we'll see when we get there, of course. CMT is the Chartered Market Technician program. That's how I have a lot of my skills. It's technical skills. And then, of course, I like to try to find what I talk about is the story. And so a lot of my trading is going to be based on story based also. Where's the attention going? What is hot for retail out there? And maybe what's a play that institution likes and retail likes? Names like that definitely stand out to me. So my background has come from going from, education and finance to then I was at Benzinga for 3 or 4 years, held pre-market prep, live trading shows for multiple years. And now I'm here at Trade the Pool, guys, and I'm really looking forward to trying to build with you guys, trying to help you guys see the market. Of course, one thing's for certain, I can't give you all the winning trades, but one thing is I will be here battling with you guys, trying to find where the trends are, where the strength is, and maybe even some of the weakness so that we can find some shorting opportunities.
Gotcha. That all sounds very good. So let me introduce you to some of our regulars. You know these names in here. So Tiny T's a regular, Nolly's a regular, Boogie Woogie's always in here, of course. Great Scott is in there. Great Scott, how you doing? Scott C, Scott Crenshaw there. So they are all of our regulars. So let us know if you've got any of yours coming up. So I know you've posted this out on your socials, which is good to see. And then we'll take a look at a few hot stocks that we've got out.
Oh yes, definitely excited to see some kind of loyal following, and then of course everybody else is coming in. So say hello, guys, if you're new to the show, and it's always good to see you out there.
All right, so let's take a quick look at the. Let's see if we can get this screen up here, and then we can take a look at the overall market. All right, so looking at the overall market today, so looking at the NASDAQ, we have a level at the top here that we just tip-topped into this morning, just following along a channel this morning in the Globex session. So looking to see if we can make a push out of that area right now. So just a point for you here, Mitch, is when I load it, I use a tool called LiquidVision. I've been an investment banker for the best part of 20 years. So every bit of let's just data analysis that I know of has gone into this little tool. So you'll hear me speak a lot about liquidity pools and benchmarks. Benchmarks generally being where program trades can finish, kind of in terms of the end of a program trade trend, and the liquidity pools being areas that price generally likes to come back to so the next person in line in that program can join on. Generally works in all the markets, but when you see me drawing things out, it'll probably be mostly off this session and pre-market, or perhaps yesterday's lows. That's kind of how I work and how I come up with my levels. So it'll be completely different approach generally, but generally we've always aligned. So like Michael always has his levels, and then it's like, oh, different analysis completely, but we all seem to line up on the same page to take a nice trade. So that's what we'll be looking at this morning.
Awesome. I love to hear it, and I think that's always good to kind of mix the approaches, right? Because when you can find levels that both of us are looking at, then that might be something definitely to watch for.
Okay, so here's kind of an example of what I'd have been doing this morning, is taking a low to the most recent high that we had, and then looking for that liquidity pool, which we just didn't quite tap into this morning. Then I'll follow it up off of that base of that channel and just follow it up as we get the new highs to go into. And right round about now, I'm here just popping out of this buy side liquidity pool. So it's always on the move. As price moves up, that kind of support that's there, that liquidity that's there, is moving up with it. And then we're looking to play off of those levels. So let's have a look and see what's hot on the small cap, kind of what I was looking at this morning. Actually, the small caps have all been something that we've seen before. Like, all the names are pretty much, we had that last week, we had that last month. So it's all kind of a little bit backside at the moment, I think, on these. But let's have a look at what I think we've got in play today. So Hollow we've seen before, Oxy we've seen before, ZVSA. So ZVSA here, we had sell side liquidity pool up there. Now the switch on tapped right into that, and we'd been up there before also. So now we can't get past that level. So we've got a 769, 770. If we close above there, then it should be like everything disappearing on level 2 effectively, and you can get a push up. But if we drop down the time frame, you can see here we've got ZVSA going off of, let's go off the pre-market, the post-market low to the pre-market high. So ultimately, this stock could rest today at around 560 to 520 if we were looking for buys at this level, or for a fade today to finish at around these levels at about 540. On the sell side, we'll be looking at a new pool, which is just below the old one. So this is kind of be a double topish, really. And then we are looking to see this sell liquidity sitting up here. So the way I'd kind of play that is I'd be looking at the micro levels kind of if I was in the play. So every swing, I'd look to see if we're coming back to that buy side. That's my definition of a trend, is if we keep coming back for buy side liquidity and then pushing on up and we draw the next one in, that's an uptrend, right? Higher highs and higher lows. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. But at the minute, we're kind of trapped between this level. So we'll see if the open has a preference for a dip buy down into this 563 or a push up to 7s and 705 to see if it can't curl round. But until now, right in the middle. So nothing to do on ZVSA. Throw them triggers in the chat, see if you've got anything you want us to look at, and we'll take a look.
All right. And then, of course, we'll see how Tesla does. I see Scott mentioning that he's looking at potentially maybe a short there on Tesla. We'll see. I mean, it's definitely getting a nice little move. One thing that I look for a lot of times when a stock is on like kind of a decline like it is right here is, can it get like kind of a little bit of a turnaround look and then heighten volume into that? I feel like that's what Tesla's finally starting to do here. So, of course, Tesla's had a real struggle from the beginning of the year. If anything, it's been, I mean, if we can look at it here, it's like what, down, still down about like 23% for the year. So we'll look to see if we can finally start making some moves in this. It's been a nice little spike back, but it's a quick, 36% in a couple of days. So definitely look for maybe some pullbacks. Well, I'll be looking at the hourly charts, especially to see if we can pull back. Somewhere within kind of like that 180 range would be a nice little pullback area to maybe go off of some bottoming action after a little bit of a gap up. That's on Tesla. Of course, a lot of stocks to watch out there on the scanners today. Seeing DocU go up a little bit here, but of course, PHG, Philips had some news, so maybe this can really start moving. Of course, medical device. So we'll see what happens with this one, if it can pull back and get a little bit of a lift. A lot of what I'm going to be doing is watching the change at the open, right? And I focus on that to see where the market's at least moving in the sectors and the industry rotation. We'll find out what happens today. It's been lately a little bit of a shift towards defensive, but today we're getting a little bit of that turn, right? Where Apple and Tesla are getting a little bit of a lead. That's definitely going to be something to watch for now to see if Apple can get a nice little move here and really start driving back. Of course, maybe it starts to make a move here towards kind of the resistance at 176, starts making its way to 178 today. We'll see what happens. Recovering the exponential moving average of 50 will be something to watch around the 173.50 today. All right, let's see what happens if this market can really get going here at 9:24. We got about 6 minutes left. It's good to see you, Dave G. What's going on? Nice to meet you. Ready to get after it today. And if you guys got tickers you guys want to take a look at, definitely throw them up in the chat. And we'll see what happens. Going to take a look to see if maybe some of the restaurant stocks move. I see Cake on the radar here. It's just gapping all around. This is a lower trade here, not too much volume. But these stocks have been, kind of hanging out. Maybe they can really start moving here. Maybe we can get restaurants to make a move. You can see here on this industry scanner, it's like an equally weight, and you can see how restaurants have really started to prop up a little bit. So this is something that I can maybe take a look at. It's something that probably isn't the expected move. And what I mean by that is that maybe not that many people are looking to see that restaurants start to get a lift. But hey, if DPZ kind of leading the way also with a nice little move today off their earnings, maybe this can really start getting some of these restaurants going. And so I'll take a look to see what moves out the gates in restaurants.
All right. So who called out? Let's have a look there. Someone looking at, I got HGH Taquito. How you doing? Good morning to you. Thinking that's going to have a nice push on the open. And then Google as well. Let's have a quick switch over here and look at Google. So Google, I'm looking off that pre-market, right? I'm looking off that pre-market to see where we might have those best execution orders above and below where we are right now. So I'd say up there around 174.20 and down around 169.20 in that kind of area. So I would want that to play out first, because otherwise we can just accumulate. You can hit that high, and that's not a bad sell if you see rejection up there. We can hit this low. That's not a bad buy if we see rejection down there. But ultimately, Google won't trend today unless it breaks out of that area once those orders have been executed. So that tells us whether or not we've got an imbalance on those orders for the days. If we've got a huge amount of buy orders, we could come down here and then work our way up, just execute a few sell orders and then continue to execute those buy orders as we go through before lunch at least. So in the meantime, what we have on Google, just going back into kind of last couple of days, is a buy side liquidity pool that we tapped into there from Thursday, and then it kind of settled down a bit, didn't it? And we're in that range now, so that's our best execution. And the question is, if we break out to the upside, we're looking for kind of 179, 180. If we break out to the downside, looking for 160, 135. Else, you can sit on your hands and wait until we kind of get up to that area to sell it if we get rejection, or vice versa. If we come down, sit on hands until we buy it around 161.5. That's Google for you. And shall I just cover the HWH for Taquito a sec? Okay, so similar thing here, kind of, is this backside? We had this play back earlier on in April. We went into very close to our benchmark here. We smashed through benchmark 1. As we know, small caps tend to like benchmark 2, or the bogey level that sits literally halfway between the two. That's now left us with a big sell side liquidity that we didn't use at any time, really. So that's still sitting up there. Off of this new lows that we've got here, we have new benchmarks. They are being confirmed at the moment 1, 2, 3, 4 times at the minute, with a buy side liquidity pulled down here at 185. So if we zoom in to what's going on today, the most recent swings we've got are right now. So we've been in pre-market highs up to 240, and then we've dropped, kind of acknowledged this buy side pull, but we haven't tapped right into it. If we are going to go any higher, up to 305, there will be the bogey level in the middle here as well. Watch out for 275. To get up there, we've got to break 235, close above it to see momentum come in on the tape. I'll be listening out for that and let you know if that does kick in on HWH. Else, I'm just going to continue watching out for these buy side levels to see if they hold as we go into the open, because we can use them as a base for a buy, but if they crack, obviously we can move down to the next buy pool as a target as well. So let's go there, move that one up as a buy side pool. That's HWH for you there, Taquito. Yeah, go Mitch, what you got?
Looking around right now to see if maybe it's a risk on type of day. So looking around to see if maybe we start to get some movement in some of the kind of the growth names. Looking right now at Cathie Wood. A lot of times if I think, growth or stocks like that, I'm starting to take a look to see if the ARKK can finally start getting a move. Of course, it's not had a good 24, but of course, Tesla is one of the main positions there. So that could also help ARK, right? Of course, start to get the move in the right direction. I'm going to take a look at Shopify right now, and looks like we're getting the bell and all right, we're off. Let's get after it, guys. Let's get after it. Yes, new spot indeed, Martin. So definitely hit the like, guys. Hit the share button. I'm ready to get after it. It's time. It's time indeed. So look around out there. Let me know what you guys are seeing. If you guys catch anything that gets your attention, let Scott and I know. We're ready to take a look at it. And of course, it's the best time. It's a time to get after a team. Tesla, of course, a little bit of a pullback, but fast moving there. So it looks like someone in the chat might be happy as they were looking for an opening short there. Hope you were able to nail that one.
Okay,
All
Mullen's
right.
hitting the tape here. Mullen is in my ear right now with some money flows straight in. So just keep an eye on that. Quick look. Pushing right now. First thing is, where are we on the benchmark side? If we can get that, we are looking. Hey, come on. Okay, we're into benchmark 2 on this one. So that's a good level. So if we're going to go any kind of supernova on this one, we're going to have to break above here. In the meantime, I like to look for those little sell side liquidity pools to confirm before any sort of shorts. Like I said, I don't necessarily recommend shorting day one pops on small caps. Very, very risky. But this is the analysis I do if you are one of those people that looks for small cap shorts on day one. So I'm looking for that tack in there on the sell side liquidity and to see if it holds. If it rips through, that's all very good. It just means there's higher levels to go to. But that has been acknowledged this morning in pre-market, and there'll be a good reason for that. So let's just see what happens there and see if this gets rejected at this time. That's MULN. The tape's just gone quiet on me. So that initial push has just gone quiet right now, which is what you want to see. You don't want to see it continue. But rest assured, if you break and close above 445, that will rush back in for new highs.
All right, I'm seeing right now technology and communication services, healthcare kind of leading the way there. So a lot of times I'm trying to find where the strength is to start. Technology up a little bit there, but I did see solar leading there. So these are stocks that have been beaten down. I might take a look at like an EMPH, maybe like a 114 pullback here, but definitely seeing some of these solar stocks get a little bit of a lift here out the gates, up about 1%. And healthcare, what's leading there? Medical devices. Of course, we had the Philips news this morning. Let me see what's leading in here. Maybe some bigger name here. PACB as a smaller name getting a little bit of a lift. We'll see what happens in some of these healthcare names. A lot of the times I'm trying to find what's moving out the gates to find some pullbacks. If you guys see anything, let me know, chat. Real estate, REITs. I haven't traded REITs in a long time. Energy is something definitely that's on the radar today. It's starting to get a little bit of a lift. One name that I use here as a leverage vehicle, right, is the Gush and Drip. So going to take a look to see if maybe we take a look at Gush today and start taking a look to see some oil names get a little bit of a lift. Valero is always a good name for me. Recently has pulled back. Let's see if it can get a little bit of lift today.
What do you think? Have you got anything on PHG there, Mitch? Had earnings to just think I might be missing that. I noticed this morning it had kind of 2 times the relative volume in pre-market and on the back of earnings, which has taken a big push up. For me, like I said, it had hit that benchmark in pre-market, so it's not necessarily a sell, but good. Definitely want to keep an eye on that to see what we've got moving there, but definitely just pushed up there to 29.5 and didn't like being up there for too long, that one.
Yeah, definitely. It fights over this one, and this one trades in Europe, right? Am I to be sharing on PHG? I'm pretty sure.
Looks like a Dutch name.
Yeah. So like that's one thing to always keep in mind, right? Like this one might have already got a lot of it priced in. This is a big jump, right? I mean, you're talking from 21 up to pre-market high above like 31. That's like a 40% move there.
Yeah.
It's already made a pretty decent move there. I'm looking to see if maybe that affects different names in the industry. Medical device companies like Abbott Labs, Boston Scientific recently had good earnings, Stryker Corp. So a lot of times I'll take a look to see if any of those other names can maybe get a little bit of a sympathy move higher. And of course, medical devices leading healthcare. A lot of that's coming off of the PHG. PanW is gone, saying someone in the chat. I'll take a look at PanW. PanW now to 302. Remember, I was taking a look to see if this one could get to 300. So nice little move right off the gates here. Let's see if we can get a pullback below that 300, somewhere towards 299.50. I won't be mad at that one.
All right, just got a second push there on the tape of volume coming in there to that same level at kind of 430. So a little bit of a new high. Again, looking like it's rejecting off. So we'll just keep an eye on that tape. ZVSA also in the ear at the moment. ZVSA. Similar kind of situation here. We didn't make it down to the buy side liquidity. We've bounced off the 200 EMA here. Sell side liquidity is up here in the most recent swing. This one goes back a long ways from the last push down. So this is an older level that pre-market acknowledged. Most recent one today that would have to break to see any more upside really is 17.25. Break and close above. Else, watch out for this $7 area. Let's have a look on the... see if this is kind of a dead cat bounce or something. Yeah, okay. So we had that run back there in February. So yeah, it's doing these pops ever since. So so look out for that one, but be careful if we do break above that kind of initially 715, or the main one here is above 770. So watch out for that.
All right, guys, I have a small little tester order out here at 299.75 here for Pan W. I'll let you know if I get a fill.
Wilson, you're on IBRX. Yep, we can see that going into... I've got a benchmark here right around 9. That the opening bar looked like it took the first 5 minutes. Took a look at that.
Got a little starter fill there in Pan W at 299.75. 71 actually got the nice little fill there. So started a little bit here on Pan W. Definitely not going to let it go below kind of this opening kind of drive here, the 296.28. Really want to see it hold this 298 and then start getting back above the 300s. Take out that 304 on a nice little quick rip. Then we can sell half and look for the remainder. I can add at the 298 spot here. Let's see if I get 298, but if not, I won't add. I'll look for the push through 304. We'll find out what happens here on Pan W.
Quick look over on the NQ, see what the overall market's doing this morning, if it's made a decision. Okay, so pushed into that top side of its channel that it's been going through in the overnight, and now just ticked down into its buy side pull. So kind of decision time here. If we start to work out of this, else if we break below again 790, we can see that flash down a little bit further. Just jumping up a time frame, see if we've got anything else below there. Yep. If we do fail that, there is a gap to fill down here at 749.5. Big, looks a big way, but we know it can cover that in no time in the Nasdaq. So that's what the NQ is doing right now. I'll keep an eye on that.
Anyone know why Uber is moving? I'll take a look to see if I can find anything.
IBRX push in there for you, Wilson. Let's take a look at this.
All right, getting that pullback in Pan W. Going to look to probably add here below 298. We'll see if I get that add.
Okay. All gone quiet on the tape at the moment for me. Let's have a look. How did MAR start out here? No, that was from earlier. PHG. No, nothing doing right now on PHG for me. HWH. Okay, so there's HWH off of that sell side liquidity pool there, Taquito, and 223 down to that buy side. So for me, that would have been the first target at least. There is a gap down here to 188, but at this time, it does not necessarily mean this is done for the day. These small caps about 10:30, if they hold this buy side liquidity pool, or look down for a further one if they do it, but about 10:30 they can start to push up again, so watch out for that. But that's a nice gap fill there on HWH between the two pools.
All right, orders out to add. I raised it to 298. I got 298, 297s for an add here. I'm looking for the moving average to kind of like hold here and then a push back up towards resistance. We'll look to see if we can kind of get, we got small entry here. I'm going to look to get another entry here and then risk off with kind of this bottoming action on the 296.
Okay, sorry, I didn't share everyone on the screen on that HWH. There it is. That's what I was talking about. The rejection at the sell side pull there at 223, coming back down and just holding this buy side now. So this is where we look to see if we're hearing it on the tape now, because I'm interested to see if we've still got money flow coming in here. Obviously, we can see that it's popping off this level, but I'm not hearing a huge amount over the benchmark on the money flow here, like per orders per minute kind of thing. So it's one of these where I'll continue to draw these now, right? So this was the one that was going to hold. If we was going to drop, we do drop. Now we've got a new swing in. We will have new liquidity sitting in there. Now the key level to break above is 220. Else this is a pop, this is a pop and it's going to drop further. But I like to listen out for that money flow on the tape to see if, there we go. That's it. That's what happens. That's what happens when you try and bust two liquidity pools. Now I've got it on the tape, but it's gone instantly quiet. It's gone instantly quiet now. So it's whether or not it comes back. That is definitely a buy side holding. That's why you got to watch out for these. They come and bite you in the backside as soon as you've got into a short. That's why day ones, you got to be careful.
That's for sure. Day ones are hard. Those are the hardest plays, I think, because it's brand new. I think that's another thing to take in. Everyone's trying to take in the information.
Yeah, totally agree. What have we got coming in there? NQ also getting power on its tape. There you go. Straight through that buy side pull. That's what I said. As soon as that comes in and busted that, like literally that is screaming in my ear at the moment. So it's a case of where is it going to go to now? See if that momentum continues on. But it's got a huge gap down here for me. I don't know anything looking left what there might be around. But yeah, similar just around 830, but for me I've got the magnet down here at 745.
All right, seeing healthcare, utilities, and real estate kind of leading the market right now. I am seeing healthcare kind of lead, utilities starting to get a little bit strong. You can use, of course, the XLU to kind of get an indicator on that. As we're seeing that get a little bit of a bounce, we'll keep an eye on names like Nextera, that's NEE. You can look at Duke, right? Those types of names, Dominion. They are getting a nice little lift here. Those, of course, aren't the biggest moves, but sometimes when these get the trend, they be consistent. Of course, lately we've been seeing a little bit of a rotation with some defensive utilities. And I'm also looking to see if energy started red, but now from the open is a little bit green. We'll see if that reverses there. Back to Pan W.
Wilson, you've got short on IBRX. What you got? You got a level up there? Excuse me. You got a level up there? I'm hearing it on the tape. That's why I asked.
How does that one do it now? IBRX
up there, just trying to tap into $10 right now. Let's see what we've got. Trying to see what you can be, what you're working from here. I can't see what you're working from. It is you got you're shorting into new highs there, Wilson. Be careful on that one. Be careful on that one. Let's see what we can have other than that most recent one. Let's do today's off of the lows of pre-market and see if we can't find you some resistance up here. Okay, working off those pre-markets. What do we got? Okay, you still got a big gap there for me. So you're literally poking above. So unless we can reject off it now, just poking above that first benchmark here. Second one's going to be up here off of our intraday now. That's going to be a benchmark up there. All right, so hopefully that current one, we are pushing through. We're just using the backside of it at the moment, but let's see if you can't get something to help you out there as in terms of resistance on that one. All right, Roku, Nolly's got Roku. Sorry, that was Wilson. Where's Nolly? Roku fast to APO1R and move stock to break even. Nice day. Well done, Nolly.
All right, seeing Pan W kind of slowed down. We'll see if it gets back up there. I already set a stop at 295.50 just to protect here. We'll see if it gets back up above the 298s and takes out the 300 again. Let me start looking elsewhere. Don't want to get too piled into one name and then get lost. Looking to see what else is making a move here. Seeing utilities. What's down? Well, technology is actually down. It's actually down about 0.46% and overall about 0.35. So we're going to stay taking a look to see if some of those names actually come back to the green. Solar names have pulled back a little bit there. Definitely real estate, utilities, and healthcare names kind of getting a little bit of a lead. Still medical care devices actually having a pretty good day there. Smaller name DHAI, Site, SGHT, and Codex. Codex is, of course, a name that I've seen move before. Dollar name, definitely getting a little bit of a move, and we'll keep an eye out on some of these other ones. IBRX, let me take a look at that. All right, that's up there towards 1050s now. Man, that's making a nice little move there. We'll see if this can continue. Nice little push. Pullback through the 9, now has gotten up to the 1050s. Now can maybe make a little bit of a pullback. I'll look to see if it gets back below the 9 EMA. And then we'll see if it comes back here towards the 920s. But definitely a nice little rip there, IBRX.
MULN, just going to switch back to that for a second. That did play, you know, I know, like I said, I was warning everyone not to short into day one, so because of how risky of it, but there it is. It played out quite nicely straight into the benchmark. This is the textbook like entry that I look for on anything. Certainly with small caps, which is that punch up into the benchmark, normally in pre-market, then it comes back, takes a look at it as we open, and that is the confirmation for me that we couldn't push on volume. As that was shouting out, the tape went totally quiet, and then now we've dropped below that first sell side liquidity pool. So for the what I call the resting area of liquidity is one that it can use for the session, like, so it can use it in pre-market for another run, it could use it in the morning for another run, or it can literally sit there for days. It kind of becomes a good target for short sellers here, but that would now reside down there around 330 or 350. Doesn't mean you're going to get an all-day fader at this point. All I'll do is continue to draw these in. So this guy now is done, right? It's totally used up that liquidity, so we're going to ignore that level for the time being, although sometimes you do see it test the backside, but in terms of the liquidity, it's gone. So now we want to see if this sell side is going to continue, and to do that, I'm just going to bring that sell side level in again, and this is kind of the comfort blanket for short sellers. If it holds, if it doesn't hold, it's not a comfortable feeling, and it's normally a quick snap to the upside. So do watch out for that. But at the moment, I'll just keep on kind of macro, kind of giving myself that comfort blanket if I'm in this, to see if these areas hold on every single swing, and if they do, not too much stress. But as soon as the first one fails, you've got the gap to the next one. If you like playing that kind of intraday price action, that is MULN.
Zoom getting a little bit strong today as a kind of a surprising name that I'm catching, getting a little bit of a lift. So I do see that getting a little bit of a move here. I'm also seeing PayPal get a little bit of a move on the day. That's then a nice little bounce there off the 66.50s. We'll see if it reclaims 67 on PayPal.
Okay, looking at BIDU, this was again on the scanners on the high relative volume in pre-market here. Not really much on at the minute. I don't think, in terms of edge, unless like literally right here right now holds, and you just, there is a little tap in, but we have to close up above kind of 106 really for that to look really nice on BIDU now. But there was definitely a short up there into the benchmark area on that rejection. But yeah, it's $100 play, so it's not a small cap by any stretch. But yeah, watch out for that level there, which is green and not red. That's a buy side pull. So if we fail below 105.15, you could see further action to the downside, probably looking at about 102.25, I would say, without drawing it in. 102.25. Quick look over at the NQ, just see what's going on, see if that's dragging anything down. So huge gap down there. So if this is going to be a session low for the NASDAQ, we're going to be looking for this buy side to kind of hold here. We'd want to come down and test it, and we would want it to hold if that's going to see another push higher. Similarly, again, with the small caps, if we push through, break down and close, once we've dealt with a potential double bottom, then again, still the gap down here to play. But just let's see what happens because that's going to affect any of your Mag 7 plays that you might have on this morning. Always best to go with the line of the market on that one. Nolly's got, why is CVX lagging on oil sector? XOM strong. You got that one covered, Mitch?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. He asked about that. Look what I'm watching. I'm watching Gush. So I'm looking at oil names right here. I'll take a look at Exxon for you. And you can see Exxon getting a nice little lift. Chevron playing a little bit of catch up. So what I use a lot of the times is I'll try to look at hourly levels, to especially for oil names, like where's the hourly support? You got right off of that in the pre-market, kind of right around here. You came back to this level and then reclaimed that 165 area. So now it needs to take out these wicks. There's a lot of wicks there. So selling pressure up there towards the 166.50s, it needs to kind of take that out to really give me that strength sign. But I'm also looking at Gush here off the 42s. So you can see how this is kind of curving right through that. That's what I'm looking at. I would like to see a nice little retracement, try to catch some buyers here at the 42, then pull back right below here towards like 41.90s. Then I can risk off this 41.75. We'll see if we get a quick little pullback here, and I'll try to go ahead and try to take a little bit of a piece here in Gush in the oil game. A lot of times I also look at Valero. Valero's a nice looking pattern here. We'll look for a little bit more pullback in Valero. I look for deep pullbacks. PSX, not too strong there. MPC, that's actually not looking too bad for a 200 break, and a lot of bunch up here around that 200. So it's not only me that's looking at that level. We'll see if it gets through it today. XOM definitely leading in oil.
Gotcha. Wilson, you're still trying to manage your way out of that IBRX, so it looks like you got a break even there, which is nice. What I've got on that now is that sell side liquidity between 10.18 and 10.38. So yeah, just watch out for that. We was very close to that benchmark. You know, it was about 50 cents off of that benchmark there, straight into that bogey level, right? That we watch out for. So because that is the bogey level, I don't know, you know, like I said, this year that has been holding. Normally would be straight off to benchmark 2, but those bogey levels will keep getting acknowledged for a pullback. Now, the decision now is actually it hasn't touched that benchmark at around about 11. So we've seen it play off at this level for the day before and then go back for that benchmark the next day. So let's just see what this has got right now. But there's the sell side liquidity. I don't have anything on the tape for this at the moment. Like I said, it is a higher dollar stock, so it might just be creeping under the settings. But let's see what we get here. There's the little push off the first take on that. I'm struggling to execute any trades this morning because I've literally cleared my cache on everything and all my passwords and everything is gone. So we're going to be going with your trades today.
No worries,
be touched on you, Mitch. No pressure.
Yeah.
I'll have it all back tomorrow.
Not a worry, guys. I'm willing to take some more trades. If you guys see anything moving that you guys are liking out there, definitely make a mention. I still got the pan W, so I'm trying to like maybe just nail the first trade down here, then really start opening it up. But I did just put a limit order at that Gush pullback, 41.92s, looking around kind of just give me a crack above, give me some volume, quick little pullback fill. It almost would be kind of one of those times where I expect kind of a little bit of a snap fill if I'm going to get it. What I mean by snap fill, quick little fill, and it's right back up above towards kind of above the 42 level. We'll see if we get this going. Gush, of course, XOM would be one to like just watch continue the strength, and then see Chevron kind of start taking the lead here. They're both looking kind of interesting. We'll see what happens here. And who knows, maybe at some point today I put on a swing trade, because I'll tell you that, guys, day trading is a lot of times where I'm trying to be a little bit careful with the capital that I have, but swing trades where I feel way more confident to take kind of those swings overnight and make some big money.
So I'll introduce you to Trader Life here. Trader Life in the chat right now is looking at. Let Mitch know what your LSS stands for. Trader Life. He likes to come in with these shortly. We have to work out what LSS means. He puts them in quite a few times just to get the entertainment going. But he's known for one as coming into the chat and saying, "I'm looking at this," and then he says, "Oh, but I'm looking for it at 10:55." So he's very precise on his. Long story short, So long story short. So looking to 28.60 on PHG, which is the one that I was looking at earlier. It's the one that had 2 times relative volumes, got earnings out today. So we'll see what we've got on that. Nice one. There we go. 10:03.
All right. Well, Pan W with a little bit of a stop out there, nothing big, just a small little stop out there, down about $20. So it got out there at the 297, but it's already reclaiming that 297. It just kind of hung out here a little bit too much. This is kind of more of one of those plays where I expect a quick little bounce and a takeout of that 300. It could still make the move. Definitely didn't want to jump too big on the risk size today. So starting it off there, $20 hit, not a big deal. We'll see if this can get through the 300. It could still be making that move. It's still holding that 296 pullback. Maybe got a little bit too tight on that 297 as it just came back down to 296.92s. We'll see if it takes out the 300 and keeps going. One thing that I'll be watching for also is CrowdStrike. A lot of times I'll try to look at the relationship to see how this is doing. You can see how CrowdStrike has pulled back also there. So let's see if it takes the next move and really starts to push. Snow, how's Snow doing? I'm not too bad today. Let's go back to the Gush. Gush is one that I'm watching and looking to see if I can get a pullback entry. We'll see if we get it. Still no entry on that one.
Just trying to look at that PhD there that Trader Life's got on as well. So right now I'm sitting right at the bottom of that buy side liquidity pool, just broken out of the little trend line that it's been putting in since we've opened, but touching right into that 28.20 level, which for further downside for me needs to break for sure. But we're under everything at the moment on that, so it's got a bit. It looks a bit heavy for it. We're just trying to see where it could go to. Okay, so we put that in on this morning on pre-market. So yeah, it's jumped all of these levels, hit that benchmark too. So if we break here, my gap would be down to the backside at least 26.50 in the first instance, and then maybe down to this 24 level down here and the buy side. Let's see what we get. Put a little alert under there just so it gives me a shout. I'm sure you'll let me know, but a little alert under there to see if we break out of that area on PHG.
All right, looking around, I see, of course, sector-wide, I see healthcare still taking lead here from the open. Now communication services now starting to lead here. What's making a move here? Let's find out. There has to be some big name kind of taking the lead here. Verizon having a decent day. Look at that chart. Not bad on the 5 minutes, straight up. Now just finally starting to get a little bit of a red candle. Maybe we can start taking a look to see. I know T-Mobile's in this space. Sometimes it can move with Verizon here. Looks like it's trying to take out that 164 spot here. We'll see what happens. Let me take a look at the daily chart. Daily chart doesn't look too bad. Definitely looking like it wants to start making a prop up, make a move maybe about 165 on the daily. This would be kind of one more that I maybe take a look at for even kind of a swing trade. Why? Because it's so steady that at least I know my out, right? Like below 163s, it did that undercut today. I'd like to see it hold that 163 now and really get back through 164.50.
Back to the NQs then. Looking here, so we did punch under that buy side there to double bottom on the NQ, and now we're pushing quite hard off of it. So this would be kind of removed right now. That was the one that caused that momentum to the downside. Now we're coming down to that swing low. And seeing if we can get a grab all the way up. Now if it doesn't need it, like it doesn't come to it, that means like, okay, the bias when it does reverse could be stronger to the downside to fill that gap. But this is where I think it would try and make a push for. Let's see if it gets there. And if we take a look at, let's see what Tesla's doing on the back of that market move right now. So those that are regular to the channel know that I love to use that kind of zone. Excuse me, the last kind of spread that comes in on that pre-market there, sitting around there. So I like to take that spread because that's the kind of area that's going to give me those best execution prices at or after the open. So I'm literally taking that range and I'm going to look to see where it comes in. So on the downside there, anywhere around here, there'll be orders dotted above and below. So we tapped into that once. We've had a second attempt at that now. So we'll see what we get off that. And similar, I'd just be bringing this down, okay, because the best execution to the upside is still sitting up there. I'll redraw that level in a second. But for the minute, let's grab this one. The sell side liquidity that we're either looking for rejection to the downside, if we can get that in line with the Nasdaq overall, would be this level here between 187 and 188. Let me just put that best execution to the upside. I don't know if we tacked into it. That's okay. Let's bring that down. We are going in at about 195 on their best execution to the upside. So watch out for some shorts up there at 195. Okay, so we're working off that level right now in Tesla. Then we've just tapped into that first level. Remember, this is I zone this up, but they're three distinct levels of liquidity. You can see them as like literally different liquidity providers if you want. Deutsche Bank at the bottom, JP Morgan at the top, Goldman's or someone else, and they're all fighting for that best execution price amongst themselves. So that's why you can see it sometimes tap in the first level and then come back and go a little bit further. But they are three distinct price levels. I just zone it up and try and look for some sort of rejection in there or at the bottom of those areas. That's Tesla for you.
All right, now I'm starting to see Chevron start making its way back. Still didn't get the fill on Gush, so I canceled that out right now. Want to see if Tesla will hold up, but that's one that I'll just keep on our radar. XOM still strong here. Let's see if it takes 120s and continues above. Valero is another one that's continued above that 168. So oil not looking too bad. It's definitely was on the radar in the pre-market. So I always like to maybe go back to those types of plays. Like, what were you watching in pre-market that you might have gotten distracted of now that you're in the open? Go back to those plays that you were already seeing on daily charts, things like that. So let's see if we can get a little pullback here to 165.75, and I'll take a shot here on Chevron.
All right. PHG, just catching up with you, Trader Life, on your progress here. We've got so breaking downside of that buy side liquidity pool, which is what you want to see for shorts. Safety blanket on the sell side is sitting up there around 28.40, let's say, to 28.55. Not that we really want to see it get there. We do just want to see it give us a nice drop down and continue under. I don't know how you hold on to these yourself, but I'm quite a big fan of these momentum moving averages. It's just a stepping 4 and 8 moving averages that generally seems to hold the momentum trend really quite nicely. And when you get a close above them, you either get a little bit of chop, a little bit more range, or you can get a reversal as well off those on these small caps. But yeah, this one sitting at $28 right now. Let us know how you're getting on with that Trader Life.
All right, looking to take a trade in Chevron here as it pulls back below the 166 level. Looking for around the 165.90s. If I could get there or below, that's where I'm looking at right now. I'm going to probably jump on this one. Normally I put out like limits. I might even try to market in on this one, show you guys how the market execution is working on Trade the Pool, of course. What's going on out there? Is that beginner trading? If you guys don't know, believe it or not, I actually started my trading journey on beginner trading. So shout out to him coming in with the FOMC Wednesday. Might be choppy. I would agree with that. That's a great comment there. Of course, we don't know what will be coming from Jerome Powell. I'm still on the camp of prolonged interest rates higher, right? Just keeping those interest rates high, especially when the market's doing well. Overall for the year, it's still doing great. There's no need to rush towards cutting, but that's the whole Fed argument there. It's always good to see you out there with Mitch getting into CVX. Scott, what are the levels for CVX? I would love to hear that. Scott, how do you see Chevron?
Let's have a look here. Oh, I've got a big red box here. I mean, I don't think I've looked at Chevron in ages. I can't believe that big red box is adding much value at the moment. Oh, no, it is. It is.
Scott, I haven't. That's what happens.
So the last time I looked at CVX, we had sell side liquidity from this high down to this low. So that's where we're at right now. So if we get a close above this, then I can definitely see more upside. If not, we'll be looking to where it could go. I mean, there's no rejection short here. I'm going to get this off the weekly and let's look at. Actually, no, I'm going to put it in because, in 3 weeks' time, it might save me doing something. But let's have a quick look here. So buy side liquidity ball down here. Let's have a look on a lower time frame here. What we've got since the last lows. Okay, so.
All right, I'm in.
You're in?
I'm in. I got 165.96. So I wanted to get below that 166 level. Just grabbed it right now. This is a small amount of size. This is kind of like the sizing that I'd be using for positions that are kind of also could be viewed as swings. I want this to really start moving, right? Because the daily chart has really started to kind of get strong and kind of, you could see it, right? It's just straight green bars up, right? I don't want to be playing into a pullback on the 9 EMA on the daily. So it's like just either it's just going to go or it's just going to get pulled back here on the daily chart. So right here, as we're seeing XOM continue the strength, we want to see this continue. It could be pulling back here towards the 50, but we're looking for the take out of the 120. And I want to see Gush try to take off also as we're seeing the Chevron move. We'll see what happens here.
All right, so just continuing that on the smaller time frame, then bringing that down. See if we can grab this. So how I play these is I don't. There's going to be a certain level of accumulation before a stock starts to run. I think everyone's quite understands that. So this is my accumulation zone down the bottom. So there's one place you can get in on the. There's three on this one, but there's normally one place in this accumulation area that's safe to get into. The best one is off the first swing and back down to that buy side liquidity pool. That's kind of the best risk to reward with your stop just under there. You're kind of getting in at 156 with a stop under 155.20. Else, there's another one here that works for us, and then the next swing also gives us the opportunity for a buy. But that aside, that there are some good entries down in this accumulation. It's not an accumulation that is wicking up and down, going to the top, going to the bottom of this range. It is steadily moving up out of it. But the key for me is when it's got out of it, right? So for me, the trade that is on is at the point it breaks out of it. So we'd always want to be looking, have this on our radar down here. It needs to be higher than a relative volume of 1 for me. It needs to be at least 1.5, but that's the area I'm looking to take off. And along the way there, we're going to be seeing these levels. So let's get this back to where it was. So we've got a level here. That's the target 1. Just call it a profit target. It's generally going to be used to pull back for another buy side liquidity pool. Then we've got another one up here, 162.48. Again, it's going to try and pull back to a buy side liquidity pool. And then we're going to get into our first benchmark. So this is where we can see some more accumulation, right? Or we can just accumulate that after this trade here. Else, if we've got really nice volatility to the upside, whoops, what am I drawing there? We can then fill this gap. So again, I just throw in that midpoint level in there, kind of about 172-ish. But benchmark 2 up there, the only thing is benchmark 2 on small caps, boom, can be done pre-market straight away, 1 day, 2 days, whereas the big caps generally generally like benchmark 1, or they take a long while to get to benchmark 2. But let's see how that plays out. So that's there for you, Scott, on Chevron.
All right, I'm seeing GOLD starting to get a little bit of a move, and I'm watching some gold stocks to see if it can start turning around. So AU is also on the radar. JNUG AU has a tendency of trending. So JNUG is looking interesting above 40 on the daily. And of course, we were talking kind of just a gold miners index. So whenever I look at the index, I like them to trade off of patterns. And so this actually looks pretty interesting, especially if it can start to hold pullbacks now to 39. It just reclaimed it today. And now let's see if it takes out 40 on the upside. So that's JNUG.
Just went down and microed that CVX there, Mitch. If the most recent one from looking from yesterday's high to the pre-market lows here, we're kind of in that sell side now. So if we get a break above 166, say 20, and close above, then I think that could we could see that push with a little bit more momentum on that one.
Yeah, I agree. Keeping an eye on that. We'll love to see it close, especially on a 5-minute basis, back above 166.25 in the next 5 minutes, and start making its way to 166.50s. There's a couple of we talked about in the pre-market how there's a lot of hourly wicks on there. So I want to see those hourly wicks getting eaten up by the body on the hourly chart. And I think that's important to always look for. A lot of times when I see these wicks, can we get a body close above that towards 167 would be that real strong move. And then you got all the trend line traders looking at this, right? Looking for that break above into there. So we'll see if we get above that and really start to move on Chevron. Another thing that I like to do is, of course, I'm trying to stay in these areas, right? Like on the top, right? Like what's doing well today? Communication services, healthcare, real estate, utilities. What's not doing well? Well, technology names were red. We'll see if this gets back above to get some kind of break-even move. But that's where I kind of want to avoid right now. Consumer electronics not doing too bad there. We'll keep an eye out to see what happens. How did Apple do? That's an interesting name, right? To see if it was going to turn around. And now we're starting to see a little bit of some strength coming into Apple. So it had a strong move, sideways consolidation. Overall market starting to come back here. SPY starting to make a move up. Q's right near kind of that exponential starting to recover. Let's start to see if some of the market really starts to drive with this move. And how's Tesla? Tesla holding those 186 pullbacks. Now can Tesla come back and take out the 190? That's one of the hardest ones to trade. I always kind of warn people when you're getting into Tesla, man, because it's a dragon and it's very hard to tame. I will tell you guys that. I have traded it in the past. A lot of times what's worked for me is using the 1 hour chart on Tesla to avoid kind of that, volatility within kind of like the 1 minute and the 5 minutes, because your heart starts jumping. You start trading Tesla.
Mitch. One second here. That's Mitch. Are you going to roll like this every day? You're suited and booted here, man. I'm sitting here in a trade defaulter. If you're going to roll like this every day, I've got to up my game. Come on.
Hey. I always say you got to look the part too, right? Money Mitch got to look the part too, right? So it won't be like this every day. Some days I'll be rocking hoodies and, of course, get some Trade the Pool swag. You guys out there need to get some Trade the Pool swag. If you don't got your swag already, reach out. Let's get you guys some merch because everybody needs to be rocking some Trade the Pool.
All right. I just thought have you got double cuffs on there as well with cufflinks? Just checking.
Oh, no cufflinks, just the watch.
Oh, right. Okay.
No cufflinks. But we're working on the setup too. One of the things is eventually I want to be able to give you guys like some like kind of deeper outlook, right? Like kind of go into like charts like this, like, actually show you guys what we're looking at, right? So stay tuned, guys. We're going to be doing some nice upgrades. I want to try to do some vertical screens, some big screens on the wall so I can show you guys some trading action as we're going through it.
Excellent. Sounds very good. Sounds good. Let's have a quick jump back. Who we got in there? We was Wilson, wasn't it? Trying to locate shorts on HWH. So you can see we worked off of that buy side pull there, didn't I? And say if we break that sell side at 220, you're going to see that momentum push on the tape. That's what's happened. So these are negated. And again, my definition of an uptrend is the sell sides will fail and the buy sides will continue to hold. what we see on that push through that benchmark is we didn't tap into this sell side liquidity pool yet. We are now in the most recent buy side pool from this swing here at 210 up to 245. So the question is now, does this hold? We took out every level in this buy side pool, so that's no longer there. So the gap now is kind of down here to 189. But it's key as to whether this buy side pool holds or not right now. You know, I don't really like to trace on these when when you had a kind of what we got here, a 30-cent move. It can always come back and grab that, and you're going to feel some pain as it does so if you are in the shorts there. But it looks like it's hard to locate anyone anyway today. So let's see what we've got. But that resting pool is still down there at 180, 185. HWH.
All right, guys, taking another one here. This is kind of more of that swing style. This is T-Mobile, and this is more based on it leading the market right now, communications and healthcare leading the market. And I could see Verizon making a nice move on the day. Verizon with a nice push, now starting to catch a little bit of a pullback on the 9 EMA. You got AT&T, and sometimes these like to move. I'm going to take a look at the ex-dividend day for AT&T. Sometimes they do like to move into their dividend. Of course, that can mean selling it today, right? Because if their dividend comes tomorrow, it could be down after that. But I will keep a watch on what's going on in communication services. T-Mobile starting to get the drive. I'll look for it to take back 164.29 and then really start to drive. Big thing for me is on the daily chart. If we can really start making a move to 165 and close towards there, maybe we can start coming back to this March 7th high. All right, back to Chevron here, and it's definitely a battle here at the 166 spot. Hasn't really taken the big move yet. I can add on pullbacks here towards 165.75. Really going to hold towards that 165.50s. Let's see if it takes it out on a pullback, and then we get that second move.
Trader Life on PHG. I wish I was with you, mate. I couldn't get into the execution of that as with anything else at this time. I will be back up and running shortly, but that's what you were saying, wasn't it? 03. Where's the 03? You gave us the 03 time. There it is. Just a couple of minutes after the break of that buy side pull, we're going down 28 to 27. You're looking to take $1 from that, right? So we'll see how that goes. Doing very well, very, very well at the moment. See how far we've got it. Still holding those stair-stepping moving averages on the momentum side. And, you know, if you do get a bit of FOMO on these plays, like I say, when it has got momentum, when it's the right time, you still need a pullback, but you're not trying to chase lows all the time. But there is one that comes in when we've just kind of initiated that push, and where we go kind of green to red and we close below there. And that's pretty much what we had on there. Really nice candle here as well. Push up, rejected straight away, and then continuation within those momentum bars. But as soon as they crack, then be careful of doing anything until you've had a deeper pullback there on PHG. But yeah, nice one. Again, Trader Life, good shout.
All right, looking at IBRX here, guys. Thinking about if I could get this one on the pullback below 9. It seems kind of interesting here. So let's go ahead. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a piece here as we're pulling back towards the 890 spot. Let's see if I can get this set up here and get a little bit of a piece. Not trying to take a crazy position here, but also trying not to run away from these smaller plays here. I want to be able to take some of these. And so one of the things is, especially as I'm coming back and I've taken a little bit of a time off, I'm not trying to take crazy position size, but also take some trades, get the feel going again, right? You know, this game's all about winning and losing, right? How do I handle the wins and the losses right now? And part of that is starting to go through the emotions. So right there, took a little bit of IBRX, got 20 shares long at 891. All right, so let's see if this can really start moving. Definitely not going to let it go through that 850s. Really should be kind of holding into this kind of 200 exponential, not break the 866. Want it to reclaim here and get back to 950s and 10. Then we can really start making a move. We'll see if this really wants to take a nice lift.
Wilson, in agreement with you. IBRX has been paying out nicely on my short. I didn't enter too early over this. Has dropped nicely. But and you're taking advantage of that drop right there, Mitch.
Yeah, I'm looking for the pullback, right? I was early in the pre-market. I talked about, can this get back above 9? and I missed that run, right? So I'm getting back into the area where buyers stepped in before, essentially trying to catch some of that where they came in. Do they rejoin the party? Did they sell the rip and buy the dip? We'll find out right now.
Gotcha. Scott say giving you love and having Mitch on the channel there, Mitch. Nice one.
Thank you very much, Scott. Scott's squared. Let's go. Scott's all around, man. We all need some Scots in our lives, right?
All right. Tell that to the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ still trying to push in. Nice little pullback here. I love these little pullbacks on the NASDAQ, right? They're just coming in. They push below the red bar and then they come back green right on those stair steppers. And then we get that momentum straight out of it. But let's see. The magnet's up there at kind of 916 and 920. So let's see if it can make that push up into that area. And then we'll see if there's anything to look for on the short side or whether it's just going to rush that level.
Real penny name Ginkgo Bioworks. This is an old SPAC play, and one thing that I want to start putting on the radar, and I'm going to be doing some more research to find out how they're doing, but taking a look at some of these old SPAC plays that are starting to get this increase in volume. So, this is a change in volume, right? Like when we start to get to the point where you're going back towards the days where SPACs were actually hot, and now you're getting this like 70 million. And right here on this turnaround in the 80s, you can see that it's back above the $1. So you got to be careful with those because sometimes they go right back below that one. But something to keep an eye out for in these smaller names in DNA.
So just checking back on MULN there. This was that textbook one. I was kind of saying to everyone, be careful of these day one plays. But we didn't come into this initial. So we went into the initial one, which is what I like to see. Then we didn't come back for that next one, which is a good sign for shorts that they didn't need to come back to it. Now we've worked that third one again. That's the comfort blanket right there. But what we need to watch out for at these moving averages is the longs come in on a color change, right? So you get those buyers come in, we tap in once or we tap in twice, and we get a color change, red to green down here, be a 1 minute or the 2 minute. Let's have a look. Yeah, it happened on both. And that's the play there that can literally stop us in our tracks, get into this 353 level. So we'd now take that. This is negated. This one is still sitting up there, right? This one was used in its entirety. So this is the one that we can actually pull down a little bit now because we're going to take the actual higher currently to that low that's starting to pull back. And we're just going to tweak that pull and bring it down with it to see if we get that push up there. So this would be the magnet now as these buyers have come in. Their stops are going to be under there at the kind of 360 area. So if we push up there, are they going to take their profits off at 4, or are they looking for it to go to the moon up to the 5s? Be careful of those longs if you are in. Get some profits off around here at the 408, 410, 420, because you can see that rejection, which can then come down and take those stops out. That's what it feels like, right? To me, it's, everyone feels like that's a stop hunt or whatever, but actually it's just coming to grab the liquidity that's already sitting down there at 350s. But totally get it when you're in long that that's what it feels like.
Yeah, one thing that I love how you do it, Scott, is the drawings, because the drawings help so much, right? One of the things that I think a lot of traders struggle with is subjectiveness, right? And trying to find a way to be objective. And I think that that's what those levels really give you. And I like the drawing because the truth is that then you don't have to be like questioning, right, about your strategy. The less you can question about your strategy, the more you're going to be focused on what? Execution, right? And we're all just trying to execute, right? At the end of the day, we can take analysis, but the truth is we're all just trying to execute something, and then we can take that analysis on how our trading's going.
Yeah, gotcha, exactly.
And you guys can try things like that too, right? Maybe you're not using specifically Scott's levels, but drawing out the trade I think is so important, especially for the beginners, to look back and see how did your planned execution go with versus what reality happened? Like, how did you execute the trade, right? I think that's an important thing to review. And a lot of times I do that after my trading, not during my trading, because then it'll knock you off. But after, look back. Was I intending to risk 20 cents? Did I actually risk 20 cents? Things like this can definitely benefit you.
CVX just broke out that top side of the sell side pull there, so you should be seeing at least new recent highs on that going into 166.40.
All right, guys, added a tiny bit on IBRX there. Now I'm up towards an average of 902 and looking for this to really start to push back towards the 950s. I got about 40 shares there. Not going to go too crazy, but just looking to see if this can really start to grind higher now. This nice little curve appeal. You see how the volume is also coming down as we start to rip. And if we make a move towards 950, I'll look to see an increase of volume. So you see how this is declining here. Looking to see this change on up as we start to rip higher. So let's see if we can get a candle that makes a nice little breakout attempt with, like, let's say 600,000 shares, something like that, to show me that they're trying to take it and the algos can push it right back up.
And that's exactly what we said earlier, Mitch. Look at that. That's that level that I had in, exactly as you're explaining it, on for completely different reasons. I've come into buy side liquidity pool and I've just got that push out on tape as well. So that's pushing out on volume. So I've heard that, as well as I can see it on the chart as well, closing above those stair-stepping moving averages now. So yeah, at the minute, that all looks great.
Yeah, and all positions on now. I have 3 positions on, right? I got IBRX, I got T-Mobile, and of course I have Chevron. So let me extend this a little bit so you guys can see that. And if you guys want me to show anything, please let me know. You know, of course, I have all my trade to pool stuff right in front of me. I have charting, I have tools all around, right? I think that that's one thing that traders need to know. You need to pay for the good stuff sometimes, right? Like, sometimes I think, yeah, you can use some free tools, but if you really want to have the best tools, a lot of times there are going to be some paid tools to support you and find trading. So that's why you see me using this tool, being able to find what's moving and where it's moving in the market. Like energy, look how the sector is moving, right? That makes me feel good about my Chevron trade, right? That makes me think, okay, well, the sector is moving higher. XOM, driving pretty strong, right? And now we'll look to see if this can continue driving higher. Gush has made a nice little push above the 42s. We'll see if that can keep driving towards the upside. Leading the market today is now healthcare. And we talked about it. It was a lot on what medical devices early on. We were looking at some high cap names, Abbott Labs. We were looking at Dexcom. This has actually made a nice little pullback after an opening run. We'll see if this can start making a push back. And of course, this is all on PASG, which is finally starting to catch a little bit of some pullback action. And a lot of that, I think, is more, I love these hourly approaches. So this is the 90 EMA. I use it often. Starting to pull back around the 27 spot. We'll see if they can find some buyers and then start moving this back. But it's been on a pullback all morning. All right, IBRX starting to get the move in the right direction here. There's a little bit of a pop. There it goes. 943s, and look at the volume starting to increase. That's kind of what I want to see here. Let's see if this can really start driving, get into 950s, and then getting towards the 960s, starting to get up there. If we can get up to 10, I'll definitely sell half of it, take the $20, pay myself, get myself back to break even, and then look to see if this can really drive. If not, I can just take the money and run. This is kind of one of those momentum plays where you got to be quick, guys. I'll let you guys know how I look at it and see where I can take some profits as we start to drive higher. 950 is an important spot to see if we can take. Then from there, I think we can make it towards the 970s. That's about the area where I could start to sell at least the first piece and look to see if the rest can drive.
Nice one, Mitch. I've got BON being shouted in my ear. Now, you can go and have a look at last week. This was one I explained. This is one of like a strategy that I use, which is more of a longer term strategy. I also posted this on X under Liquid Vision. BON. So this is one. This was actually the post on X that I was saying. So I'd been waiting for this stock to, basically it was getting, let's get on a bigger time frame here, getting absolutely hammered and putting new lows in. Then we started sideways in out, and I'm looking for I've got to turn this down because it's still shouting in my ear. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. So yeah, looking for it to accumulate down at those lows. And I think when I posted it, it was actually at this level. I like this level, but it did push down into pretty much this level as I brought it across. So as it done it again there, I was long on trade the pull on BON at $4. You can see it then come in again off this touch in the buy side liquidity pool and went, well, this will be the actual high, I guess, went for another touch. And I've yet to see it on the scanners, but literally right now, if I look at these low float winners, this just had the top position in this race here. It's dropped down a little bit now. Actually, it's just dropping off now because it's slowing. Oh no, here it is. Yeah, up this 3.86%. This was just the last big runner that won this race in the last kind of 10 minutes. So that's something that I've been waiting for. I've been anticipating that. Like I said before, breaking, I need to see that breakout out of the accumulation level. The best risk to the reward is if we touch that buy side pull down there. You can get in at 3.5 and put the stop down there at 330s and off it goes. So this is one that I'm just looking to see how hard they come in. If they come in as they're on the tape today, are they going to push it to 650? Could we get up to the 9s on this? But this is one that I'm glad to see this on the tape there, about 520s right now.
All right, we got up there towards 951 on IBRX. Volume did pop towards that 600. Now I want to see that level get taken out and go towards the 10. As I go towards that, I have a sell order towards 975 to get hit on a limit. We'll see if it gets hit, and that's about for half the share.
All right, Kevin's got any thoughts on knee? Take a look for you, Kevin.
Yeah,
you got. If you got the screen, you can.
Yeah. Just at least definitely see the utilities have pulled back and now has come back towards this 9 EMA. Another way to look at this is the XLU, right? Some people use the spiders. I have like equally weighted index that I look on TC 2000, but now we'll look to see if this can take that next step up. Duke is another one that's on the radar. We've talked about these. Would they continue to the upside? Nextera is going sideways there. If you want to give a look on Nextera, Scott, feel free here. But I definitely did point earlier that utilities looking pretty strong. They're not the sexiest names to trade, right? But at the end of the day, they have consistent patterns. And that's why I sometimes can go to these, especially on a day when you're seeing it lead.
Gotcha.
IBRX now pulling back towards that 925 kind of pull back, where you see how the 9 EMA is hanging tight here. I use the 9 EMA often because a lot of times what are people also looking at? They're probably looking at this, right? They're using like a MACD indicator, and the MACD indicator a lot of times uses what? The exponential 9 moving average. So I use that as a momentum indicator to watch the stock and stay in the momentum. Now that I'm in the stock, I would like to see it keep closing above the 9 EMA, 923 on pullbacks right now, and then taking out the high to the left, 952. So continuing what? Higher lows, higher lows. So now we've got an 895, we've got an 904. Want to see that continued trend and get higher.
So we normally play a game. It's one of Gil's favorites. It's
I've heard about this game.
You choose, we trade. All right. So what it was everyone in the chat used to pile in what they wanted us to trade, and the one that got the most kind of votes on there we would go with, and the chat would choose the stock, which way we played it, and we would oblige. So then we kind of I didn't like that too much. So I tried to tweak it a little bit to say that, well, let's have people in the chat put in their favorite trade, right? One they're seriously looking at, like this. Trader Life has done a lot of these. One they're seriously looking at to play. Give us the direction, give us the price, and give us the ticker. And we'll pick the one that we feel like is the best one out of those, or one we feel comfortable at taking, and we will hit it for you, and we'll see how we manage that trade. All right. So let's see. We've it's gone so fast today. I feel very unprepared today because of the technical issues, but let's still see if we can't squeeze it in. If you've got something on that you're looking at, put it in the chat. We'll have a look and we'll see if we can't get it on.
That means you out there, you right now, you're watching that. Hit it in the chat. Come on. Don't miss out on this. This is your opportunity, guys, to run the show. Let's get it going here. We'll see what happens with IBRX. Will it be a little bit of a dragon to tame today? It's definitely a fast mover. I also saw that DNA that I'll definitely keep on watching. The reason why is that things like this, right? So this is like a pure trend, right? When a stock is going like this and just holding to 9 EMA, that just shows me momentum. Even though it's a small price name, one thing that clearly shows is all the volume that's in this name. So this is one that I'll definitely keep on watch, and I'm going to be looking into the SPACs. And who knows, maybe I might bring on a special guest sometimes, guys, because I definitely know a lot of people in the industry. I know people that even have like SPAC ETFs and things like that can maybe come on and let us know what they're seeing out in the markets. So definitely smash the like, guys, right here. Trade the pool. Hit that subscribe if you're not subscribed. What are you waiting for, team? Get after it. All right, IBRX. Let's get it. There we go. Now giving that nice little pullback to around the 925, right? If we look at the 5 minute in a second, well, we're going to start getting a close, right? So this started at 936, so that we got the higher low. That's what I wanted to see. Higher low, higher low. Let's leave that trend to continue. That's 921 on the 5 minute.
Here's something on the tape for the NQs. Let's just jump back to the NQs there. So that's the magnet that we drew in earlier. Again, like I said, these are 3 distinct levels. So we've just tapped into that level 1 liquidity on the sell side. And right now we've rejected off that. So this had more to do than Tesla. Tesla was always hanging into that kind of sell side liquidity pool that it had. And it just spent more time up there, right? It was like hanging on for the NQs. Come on, waiting for the NQ to get up there. When the NQ got up there, then it took its drop aligned as well. But it's just double bottomed into that. So let's see if they can both line up again. Like I say, at the moment, that is just the first touch into a wider pool of liquidity. And coming into this time of day, we could see it grind a little bit higher, messes about going through lunch before it decides another direction on the NQ.
Looking to see if the Tesla can start moving back in the right direction. It just bounced off of 186 areas 1, 2, 3 times. Now trying to do that reversal back. I'm not going to jump on it that quickly, but it's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on, because overall on the daily, this has already made a big jump, but I could see some reloading maybe happening around the 180, especially as this was in sideways consolidation for a while. People were trying to play the bounces, trying to see if Tesla would break out again. And now that it's finally above that, I think some of those people sold out, right? They took their money off the table. But will we get some pullback buyers? One thing that I'm looking at is the hourly, looking to see when this can really start to bottom out. 5 minutes might be a little bit of a trap right now. I do see the action right here, kind of in this area. But the question is, can it really start to drive here? Something that I'm waiting to see is, can Tesla turn the trend? This morning it was all green and it's been on pullback.
Mitch, what's your target on IBRX?
IBRX, the first profit target we want to take is towards the 970s. So you can see 975 right here, ready to go. I canceled the limit as it pulled back there, and I don't want to show my hand too early sometimes. So I'll cancel out. I already have it set though, right? The order is ready to go. All I got to do is click that sell. And then another thing that I'll always have is an order box below as a protection. What do I mean by protection? I want to be able to get out at any moment if I'm just like, whoa, 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 what just happened here? So at the bottom, I have my 40 shares all ready to go, market order ready, and ready to get out. A lot of times in different platforms, I don't recommend market orders, but with Trade the Pool, they have worked for me. Of course, you guys look in to see what can work for you and what best is on Trade the Pool platform. But I can tell you, at least for my fills have done pretty well, especially when I'm just trying to take the money off the table, right? A lot of times, if I'm using that market, it's for either protection or I want to get out immediately as I got in a big pop.
All right, so Wilson's got in the chat a little "you choose, we trade" game. So I'm not sure how comfortable you're going to be with this, but he's putting in a short idea on IBRX from 77 to 977 to 863. So
I'll tell you what. We'll do this. How about we look for a 970 something pop, right? A pop trying to get to 10. I'm gonna look to sell it out, sell the order, right? Take the money off the table, put myself back green on the day. And then once we do that, we can start to look to see if we get that turnaround look where it starts to fall off, Wilson. But I think that this will have a little bit of that drive first and then start to see the turn. Now, do I normally trade with 40 shares? Not really. I'm more than willing to take bigger positions, but one of my things is, especially this is a new account, right, on Trade the Pool. I'm trying to show you guys the approach, especially as I'm coming back to the game. I've been out of the game for about like a month or two, been dealing with the Twins. But this is what I like to do first, right? Get some skin in the game, start getting the feeling. Then tomorrow we can go back to like regular sizing, especially if we're in the green. Day one on the account, I just want to end green, give myself some confidence. Confidence is so underrated in the trading space. You gotta have confidence in your abilities and your skills to keep you in success mode, right? Getting that lead, because there's gonna be ups and downs here. Let's try to continue on our execution and stay in the success.
Sounds good. Looking at T here for Tancredi.
Yeah, the DNA one's not the worst idea. I see that coming back to one, but you got to be careful with those $1 stocks, right? Yeah. That's not a bad one mentioned. What about opinions on T long? What do you think about that?
So I've got the first benchmark there being like tagged into now. So that's why we're seeing that kind of sideways movement from there. And that looks like it's aligned with the best execution levels on T today. Let me just put that up there. Yeah, so the best execution's right there as well, up at 725-ish. So that's why we're seeing that. Just above it, I do have the sell side liquidity pool. If I zoom out, these have been holding quite well, but been utilized whilst they're up there. So this one would go deep into this level again, deep, looks like halfway house and then the full lot. So we're not quite up to this one yet, so we could see a push up into that sell size. It's a little bit awkward to call. All I can say at the moment is this is the best execution level that I would see for some shorts to come in, unless it can hold the backside of that area where it is. From the pre-market lows to the in-session highs, that resting liquidity pool would be down there at kind of 17 to 1688. That's what I've got for you on T.
Little wall there at 950s I'm seeing on IBRX. Let's see if we can take out that 950 wall and then start moving higher. That's going to be the area where I see if the algos can jump and buy that, then maybe we can start getting this lift into the 970s. 10 is in reach. Let's see.
Just check in. What else we got here?
All right. Also moving on the day, SLNO. That's a more expensive stock that has made a really nice move. That's a therapeutic stock. Definitely a big. PHG we've talked about tons, and that just hasn't been able to catch the support yet. At least haven't seen any big move there.
All right, just jumping back to what was he looking at earlier? ZVSA on that pre-market high into a sell side pull. We didn't, when we opened, we was about 10 cents off. Oh, yeah, what's that? Yeah, 15 cents off of that sell side pull, and then it's jumped down. Again, we had that kind of color change at the lows here on this moving average, but their stops would have been just under here, and that was enough to take their stops out and put you straight into that target of kind of $5.40 in the middle of that zone there. So that's it for Downside ZVSA at the moment. Obviously, if it breaks below it can fade. It can be an afternoon fader for the day, but we'll just watch out that we don't get that volume come in, because after, well, we're there kind of anywhere from this time of day onwards going into lunch, they can squeeze you up a little bit, because they never did come up to this kind of $6.85 to $7 area on ZVSA.
All right, taking a small hit there on Chevron as it turns around back below. So out, stop triggered there. Down about 40-30 on the day. So definitely going to manage that, but that's nothing, right? Try to keep it small today. And we'll see what happens here on IBRX and T-Mobile. T-Mobile's actually doing pretty decent. That's still in the green. We'll still be battling 2 positions on right now, both long.
All right. PHG, as PhD doing, still coming down on PHG there. Quick jump over. So Trader Life, you still holding this? You've it just come back a little bit on us here, but I think you got down. You was 28 target, wasn't you? Or was you 27? Let's have a look. Trader Life. You were looking for $1. Oh, sorry, Mitch. You were looking for $1.03. Yeah, I think 28. No, you're looking for a little bit more on that Trader Life, I think, if I remember rightly. Go, Mitch.
No, I'm excited. I'm looking out in the chat to see if there's any other names being mentioned. That DNA being one that Scott was looking at. Trader Life, you got back out, got out, back in. There you go. Sometimes you got to take it. I mean, what matters is that you understand that risk and return, right? If you got to get out, get back in. Hey, that happens sometimes, right? You're short off of 27.63. Okay, we'll see what happens on that. Oh, interesting trade there. Looking at PanW to see if it's going to turn back, and that still hasn't yet to turn back around. So that's just one name that I'm keeping an eye on.
All right, trying to check out what that NQ is going to do going into lunch here to see whether we get that. So we didn't go in any further at this time, but we did come down very, very close to the next buy side off of that run up from the lows to the high of not the session, but the last run up where it was looking for that magnet. It was so close, wasn't it, on that buy side again? So it's just level 1 liquidity is upside and downside for the moment. So if it's going to push further into the original one here, there'll be a new one right here. So that's it's tapped into that, had a little rejection bar on it, but the Nasdaq can still continue to bust these in one candle. So it's, like I said, it's just a case of me trying to work out what's going on here. And at the moment, what I can see is kind of buy side. We had that initial push where we failed that buy side to suggest, down, but now we're just holding buy side, holding sell side. So we can now range for the rest of the session, or at least until we get somewhere after lunch to see what's going on. But at the minute there, just tapped into that sell side and seeing those sell orders come in and those offers on the tape there.
How's the overall market looking here? Looks like we've pretty much gone sideways. I mean, from the open, there's really not much. There's not much action here in the SPY, at least. I mean, we are already kind of getting a little bit of a bounce back, but definitely still some sideways action in the market. Tesla started to come back there. I did see a little bit of that bottoming, that 185. We'll see if that actually holds or if it's just a little bit of a fake out there. Apple's been on the pullback here. We'll see if that can finally get a lift, or is that just going to keep pulling back? But overall, a day where it's a little bit of a mixed day out there. You do have some sectors up, but not a big move in the overall market, kind of sideways action. And like we got that mentioned earlier today, we could see some choppy action, of course, going into the FOMC meeting, and that will be on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. Of course, we'll have a recap for you guys as we come back on next week. But if you guys want to keep up with it, of course, I'm always going to be putting out things on my Twitter. I'm sure Scott will be kind of keeping up with the markets too. So you guys keep up with us. We'll do our best to keep you informed and in the know. That's what's important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've got 10 minutes to go. We're gonna we do a summary at the end, which is gonna be all yours today, Mitch.
I got that. Ready to
But
get after that.
yeah, we're gonna do that in about 5 here. But for the minute, just trying to see if there is anything else going on. Just back to that NQ there. Look, just rejected off that sell side again. And this is why I say it can start to start to kick in this sideways kind of action, and they keep taking out the highs and taking out the lows, and it's just playing with anyone in any of those kind of Mag 7 trades as well right now. So again, got this level right here that it's tapping into. It's getting tighter and tighter from what we're seeing from that opening range, and that's how you get your pennants, right? So I'm drawing these in and anticipating these levels ahead of time, but ultimately when you look back in hindsight, then you can start drawing your pennants and your trend lines, and then you start waiting for that break of that tight price action. HWH. Oh, here we go. Here's a squeeze. Look, so we come in on that HWH. Every time we were saying we're holding less on the tape massively right now as well. So they've got that money flow coming out of that sell side pull. I'm just going to turn that off because that is quite constant. 1 second. Yeah. So buy side held, sell side failed. Again, that's my definition of the uptrend. And you can see one here. I'll just grab this. It double went for it on a micro level, right? It just tapped into this one again, off it goes. And then the last one, before it went in to break that, just tapped sell side at buy side at 226. And that's the injection of liquidity you get when this literally fails. It's like because we'd taken this earlier, we'd done all 3 levels of this zone. And that's why you can move it off to the side and say, right, that's it now. So if we go and like kind of another attempt at that and we close above, that's when you can see that liquidity come in. So pre-market highs well above them now. So shorts will be, scared at least of this squeeze. The brave ones are going to still be shorting into this like crazy to see if they've got that 250 $half mark, to see if they can't play off that. But stocks that hold in these buy side pulls, all I can say is just be very careful on the short side. So the most recent one that I'd be looking at almost takes it back to where it come from before that squeeze. The buy side being there down around 235 now, but it continues to push up. The bogey levels at 273, benchmark 2 up at 305 here. So we'll just see what that's got to do. See if we've got any money. Oh, hollow's coming through on the tape, not HWH. But there's that gap there. You've seen that happen many a time, Wilson, where that breaks that sell side and gives you that. And Taquito was on this one as well, so nice one. Laura, how you doing? Welcoming you as well, Money Mitch. One of yours?
Yeah, it's good to see you out there, definitely. And get ready, guys. We're just getting started. Like I said, I'm getting back into it, and we're going to take some swings. That's what I'm all about. Definitely not going to shy away from taking some swings. And sometimes we're going to even hold overnight. I think that's one thing that I'll be bringing to the stream that normally we do kind of more on that day trading focus, right? But there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of some swing. Of course, you got to manage how you're doing it with Trade the Pool. There's certain rules to go by, and I'll make sure to kind of be going through that and explaining it. But I'm definitely looking also sometimes to take some swings. We'll see how that works out.
That sounds good. That'll be good addition to the show. We're taking some swing trades.
Yeah, Scott, do you do swing trading or are you mainly focus on day trading?
So I mainly focus on the day trading. Like I said, that BON trade. Let's just have a quick look at BON. That BON trade is a different strategy of mine, where I'm looking for those bottom feeders. I'm looking for that unusual volume activity at the lows. This one had a reverse split as well, so that's perfect. Hang on to that reverse split on my watch list for 10 days, and then this one I'm happy to hold as a longer term trade. But that is more, I'm looking for the small cap before it pumps, as opposed to holding overnights on the mid caps or big caps. So that's why it'll be good to see you do that.
Yeah, I like the mix. And you got to have a couple of strategies, right? I think an important part is that sometimes if you only have one tool to go at the market, Well, what happens when you need another tool? You end up using the wrong tool, right? And so I'd say a lot of the times that you need to have multiple tools in your tool belt, right? What type of trades do you look for? Another big thing is looking into the market to seeing what's working, right? Because sometimes the growth trades are working. Sometimes the value trades are working. Sometimes the buy the dip trades are working. Sometimes the momentum trades are leading, right? And a lot of times you're seeing moving averages being used in that. You got to know what's working in this market and what's not.
Absolutely.
And that's another reason why I'm not going too crazy today, guys. I got to find what's working, right? That's a lot of times that's going to be based on your own trading too. Like, how do you trade and what's working right now?
Give the guy some time, guys. He'll be back. You still got to be running on a few hours sleep, though, surely, no?
Oh, you know it, man. Hey, they say it. There ain't no rest for the wicked. And unfortunately, and it's true, money don't grow on trees, guys. I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed, and there ain't nothing in this world for free. That's true.
Excellent. It is true for sure.
All right, guys. Looking for this to start changing. So IBRX is like an important inflection point, right? We want to come back and take out the trend line at the 950 and really start making that move to 10. But right now, it's kind of at the point where I don't even want it to get back below $9 was a pretty interesting buy on the dip buy. At this point, we've gone sideways. We've had consolidation. We've had the levels that it could have gone and lifted off of. So now it's kind of like what I talk about, go or no go. What do I mean? Well, at some point, I just want to hold kind of close to break even and let the trade either play out or it cut me out. A lot of times I'm taking my trades based on risk and return. So at this point, I can almost cut the risk off and just let the trade try to do its job. And a lot of that is going to be if they can get it driving higher back into the 945s and the 950s. And it's a lot of this is the algorithmic volume. Let's be honest, right? Will they take it back up? We'll find out if they can go ahead and kind of hold this 5 minute, take out that 950, real move back down below 9 will get me right back out. And let's do a little review. Do you want to go ahead and knock that out?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so what I'm going to do for you guys is just one quick second here. Scott, I'm going to put your screen up and I'm going to share a different screen here, which is straight into my trade to pool. And I do want to show you guys this because there's going to be times where I just want to show you guys right here, right? I have different tools, different screens available to me. So here's that IBRX trade. Let's go really quickly with that as I'm keeping an eye on it to see if we can just at least bounce to the 940s. Then I can just go and talk about other trades. But as you guys can see, I was looking for pullback buys. Right here, we got in 20 at the 891, 20 at that 913. So nice on the trend of trend. We'll see if that can actually get back above the 950s. Let's go to the losing trades on the day. The first one was the Pan W, right? Was looking at a little bit of a pullback here, opportunity to see if this would kind of get the nice little push after the pullback above 300. We got in right here, 5, right? 5 shares each time, trying to size into the position. Some people don't like sizing in. I really do like it because at the end of the day, I'm trying to build the position up. It doesn't need to be immediately into the green. Just needed to look for those nice pullback opportunities. And then right here is when we sold on the pullback. It eventually got close back towards my average. But as you guys can see, it's been downtrending since. So sometimes when you cut it, it's actually going to be a good thing. In this case, a good thing, right? Because all we've been doing is declining below that support, and that would have definitely cut me out, that 296 below. So was able to get in this, lost a little bit, only 18 on that loss. Let's go to the Chevron, second loss on the day, but this one was for a second there doing well. So on the day trade, it started to drive. It just didn't keep the momentum for kind of the overnight action. So you can see this pullback coming into this 165. We'll look to see if we can get back above now, as it did pull back and stop me out right off of the support, right? So I didn't want to let it go below that kind of downside action out the open. We did get that down move, and now it's starting to come back. We'll look to see if XOM kind of gets a nice little push also. Oil did pull back. Now could maybe find a little bit of a bounce. XOM probably the strongest move in oil, but keeping an eye on that one. And of course, also took a little bit of a swing trade here on T-Mobile. This one actually doing pretty well, guys. I'm in this one at an average at 163.80s. And now this is up about 18 bucks already. Got about 30 shares and looking for this to make a nice little daily attempt move above this kind of 164.50s, going to 165. I'll sell majority of it into that move if we can get it today, and then hold the remainder overnight to see if we can come back tomorrow and expand on the wins. A lot of the times my swings even cover some of my day trading and then some. Right, that's the way I look about it. We'll see what happens on that T-Mobile, and then of course still have that IBRX for T-Mobile. I do have a stop around 163.40s. I just want to be transparent on that. That's below the price action as we got in on that pullback. Has turned back around now, taking out this high, which was very important for me. Now from here on out, I really would like to see it hold 164 and really start to drive higher. A lot of times, this is when I say I let the market do the work for me, as I've done the hard work in the entry, and now it's time to just let the market work, right? Sometimes it's going to go in my favor, sometimes it's not. I'm not in the worry about which favor is going to go, but more along the setup of the trade and letting the math just play out.
Excellent. Nice recap there, Mitch. So I think it's time for us to wrap. So as you're so good on the recap, so used to this, you can do the close.
All right, guys. So stay tuned, guys. Of course, I'm going to be joining Monday through Wednesday and giving you guys my perspective. Of course, you guys get also Scott. Where else are you guys getting this perspective? Two traders that trade differently, but you can definitely see that we have the market underneath our belt. And that's the important thing, showing you guys the processed approach, coming in every single day and being able to trade all different types of names, from a $9 or a dollar name all the way up to the 100 or multiple $100 names like we trade Pan W today, from swing trades to day trades, whatever you guys need. Trade the Pool is here for you guys. We're going to keep battling every single day with you guys right here. Stay tuned, guys, because there's a lot more for you guys. And like always, you guys can keep up with Scott and I on Twitter. Money Mitch BZ is still my tag. I will be shifting over, maybe adding a TTP at the end. Stay tuned, guys. It's good to see you guys. Excited to join the team. Thank you, Scott, for bringing me on. I really had a great day with you and looking forward to keep building.
Good to have you. See you all tomorrow. Cheers.